found Houston on the brink of elimination, trailing 2-1 as Utah came out trying to put the Rockets away. But Houston rallied in the second half with a 26-4 surge, hoping to take this series a distance. Mark Eaton had a playoff record 10 block shots, and Darrell Griffith rallied the Jazz, but in the end it was Utah who was rejected. Today in Game 5, the Twin Towers of Texas, Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson carry the burden as Bill Fitch hopes to take this young program one step farther. And Frank Clayton tries to return his Jazz to the Western semifinals. Adrian Dantley can carry this Utah team, but Ricky Green is a catalyst, and Thurl Bailey's play could be the difference. Ready to blast off for Game 5. We're in Houston, home of NASA, as the Rockets and the Jazz take it to the limit at the Summit. Welcome to the Summit in Houston. It's sold out for Game 5 between Utah and Houston. As we check the Western Conference playoffs, you can see the Lakers in the second round already with a 1-game lead, and the winner of this game will play the team that wins a game between Denver and San Antonio in the Mile High City later this evening. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Bender along with Doug Collins. And, Doug, we didn't think there would be a Game 5 because at half on Friday, the Rockets trail by 11 points. Bill Fitch went into the dressing room. He said to Ralph Sampson, do you want to end your season this way? And they really came out then and played well.
Well, Ralph Sampson felt the pressure he did in the NCAA tournament. One loss and they were out. He responded 10 points, 10 rebounds in that third period to get him to Game 5.
There's a lot of pressure you feel on the Jazz. Last year they got into the playoffs for the first time and everything was a bonus. But this year, Doug, they want to get back at least as far as the second round.
Well, Adrian Dantley was a contract holdout early in the year. They lost John Drew in the middle of the season. They've had some injury problems. There's been a lot of adversity this year in Utah.
The Jazz have to do a good job on the offensive boards.
They've been beaten in the series thus far, 86-39. They've got to be able to cut that margin down, and they've got to get out in the transition game.
What about the flip side?
Well, for Houston, they've got to continue to bang the boards and hit the outside shot.
And so Game 5 before a crowd of over 16,000. The Jazz and the Rockets, the NBA on CBS.
The NBA on CBS. Today's playoff game is sponsored by light beer from Miller. Everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. The Gates Rubber Company, for over 60 years, a world leader in automotive belts and hoses. And by Allstate. For home, auto, business, health, and life, you're in good hands with Allstate.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's the starting lineup for your Houston Rockets.
Okay, here we go. Wow, look at that shot, huh? From the Lone Star State, Houston, Texas, a sellout. The Summit, Game 5, Utah against Houston. Utah coached by Frank Clayton. Second straight year that he's been able to bring his team to the playoffs. And one of the reasons they're back is the very and vastly improved play of Thurl Bailey offensively. Adrian Dantley is their leading scorer. Mark Eaton, the NBA Defensive Player of the Year. Green, he's like a blur. And Griffith, the three-point man. Bill Fitch, on the other hand, has been in the NBA 15 years. The second with Houston. McRae vastly improved. Sampson, the MVP in the All-Star game. Olajuwon, the #1 pick. Lloyd, 27 points in Game 2. And Lucas, he improvises for this team. The officials for today's game: Hugh Evans and Daryl Garrettson. The alternate is Hugh Holland. And so somebody's season's going to end today as Eaton will go up against Sampson. And coming up with it is Ralph Sampson. Sampson will kick it out to John Lucas, who became a starter in Game 2 of this series. Lionel Hollins had been the starter in the last 60 games of the regular season.
We see early here Gary Houston bringing Akeem Olajuwon way out on the floor, trying to post up Ralph Sampson to keep Mark Eaton away from the basket.
There's a traveling call. Didn't quite get that one underway. Griffith a little unsure of himself. A bad pass to Dantley is hard for him to handle. Frank Layden last year was the NBA Coach of the Year, leading his team to the playoffs for the first time in Utah's franchise history. Here's Lloyd, who had that brilliant second game with 27 points. Out of Drake, and he traveled with the ball. Both teams maybe a little nervous.
Well, they've mishandled now 2 opportunities. Utah wants to get out and run as much as possible. Bill Fitch feels they have the second best transition game in the West behind the Los Angeles Lakers.
And that's saying something.
Yes, it is.
The Lakers played brilliantly again yesterday against Portland in Game 1 of that second round. There's the three-point area. He loves to shoot from there. Mark Eaton, rebound, Dantley inside. Dantley has a lot of tall people to contend with. He's intimidated by that, and here comes Lucas. John Lucas on the move. The basket will count, and he's fouled by Ricky Green. And that is so indicative of Lucas. He just improvises all the time.
John Lucas is a very unorthodox player. He's a left-handed player. Ricky Green does the right thing. He forced him to his right, but John Lucas is a master of the off-balance shot, especially using that backboard going to his right.
It's been a difficult year for John Lucas, but he's come on strong down the stretch, and he gives the Rockets a 3-0 lead. Thurl Bailey, the second-year man out of North Carolina State, into Eaton, all 7'4". He missed an easy shot, tries to follow. Here's Dantley again. Boy, they've missed a lot of easy shots inside, and here comes Houston again.
That's a good sign, though, for Utah, banging the offensive boards.
McRae can't handle the pass. Here comes Ricky Green, and can he move? He can dribble faster than he can run, and look at that play.
Well, Ricky Green, a little payback that time on John Lucas. He took it right to him, veered off to his left, and used the backboard, and finally got Utah off to the start that they're looking for here, a quick start out on the break.
3-2, the Rockets with the advantage, just underway in the first period. Game 5, the winner will play the victor of that game tonight in Denver between the Nuggets and the San Antonio Spurs.
Houston very patient now in the half-court offense. Had to force a shot up Rodney McRae to beat the clock.
Olajuwon able to recover inside. And we're going to call 3 seconds in the lane. And so the Jazz will get it back.
Here's the look at the rebounding. Look at Houston, 86-39 on the offensive boards. But on the defensive boards, Utah has actually out-rebounded Houston by 1.
There's a push-off foul. Sampson trying to guard Thurl Bailey. Ralph Sampson, they list him at 7'4". You're saying, though, he's closer to about 7'2"?
Well, I think that when you talk about their front line, I believe that Mark Eaton and Thurl Bailey is a bigger lineup than Ralph Sampson and Akeem Olajuwon.
They say Olajuwon really is not 7 foot. He's more like 6'11". Here's Dantley missing. Bailey at 6'11", kicks it out to Griffith. See, Griffith was ready to shoot that three-pointer. Here's Ricky Green. Missing a lot of shots early as Utah. Rodney McRae, second-year man from Louisville, to Lewis Lloyd. Rejected by Eaton. He had 10 blocks in that game Friday. Ralph Sampson. Pretty tough to block that shot.
Lewis Lloyd trying to take the ball to the basket was rejected, and here's Ricky Green again down the floor.
You've really got to get back in a hurry for Ricky Green. I mentioned earlier, Doug, that he can dribble the ball faster than he can run. That's an unusual characteristic.
The thing Ricky Green does so well, he reminds me a lot of Tiny Archibald in that when you're getting back defensively, if you have your back turned to the ball, he will run the man guarding him into his own teammates. So you must get back and see the ball and see Ricky Green. Otherwise, he will use the other team as like a little shield to get himself to the basket.
Green hits them both. That foul, by the way, was on John Lucas, his first. Here's Sampson. He loves to handle the ball in the open court. Lewis off to Olajuwon. Rejected that time by Bailey. Here's Thurl Bailey. a talented player, and that didn't look like he had time to shoot the ball, but he got it in.
He was actually looking to pass the ball off. The Houston defenders got away from him. He just got his feet together, shot a little wide open 15-foot jumper.
6-5. The Jazz with the advantage. Bailey in game 1 in this series had 25 points. Sampson.
Those are the same kind of power moves he made in the third period the other night when his team was down 11. He took it on his shoulders to take the ball to the basket, which he did.
There's a pass inside to Dantley. Nice pass that time, and Dantley able to give the Jazz an 8-7 advantage. Adrian Dantley has had some strong games, but then what has really happened sometimes, he's not gotten to the free throw line like he'd like to.
That'll be a key in today's ball game. We'll develop that a little further and show what he's done this year in terms of getting to the free throw line, especially in this series.
Here comes Darrell Griffith, 2-on-1. Nice pass to Green, and he elects to come out, and he threw it away. Looked like he may have had a shot. That's 2 turnovers now by Utah. We'll keep you posted on this one as Philadelphia Milwaukee beginning the second round, and the Sixers have the early advantage.
That'll be an outstanding series. Both of those teams, the class of the East, along with Boston and Detroit.
John Lucas, 1-on-1. Eaton comes over, and Olajuwon puts it away.
Hakeem Olajuwon is an excellent offensive rebounder, Gary, especially on the run. When the shot goes up, he times it very well, as he did that time. You must block him out further on the floor and not let him get a running start to the basket.
Well, he led the league in offensive rebounds. There's a steal attempt. Lucas going down, looking around for Griffith, and he rejected it, but we're going to have goaltending. That shows you the jumping ability of Darrell Griffith.
Darrell Griffith off to a slow start. He did get called for the goaltending, but Darrell Griffith needs to get off the schneid here. He needs to get a jumper, get something going. It looks like Frank Layden's trying to run a play here to get him a shot.
And that play could be a three-point play. That's part of their offense. They will run it at any stage of the game. Bailey misses, has his own foul, has another one. Excellent effort by Thurl. He gets it out to his teammate Green, and here's a three-pointer by Darrell. Mark Eaton comes away with it. Good job on the offensive boards. Griffith to Bailey, and that'll be a foul on Sampson, and they are really banging the offensive boards.
Well, this is something they've not done in the series. Utah with multiple shot opportunities on the offensive end of the floor. They had at least 3 offensive rebounds in that sequence. Finally, Darrell Griffith did the smart thing. He attacked the basket, drew the defense, kicked off to Thurl Bailey, who was fouled by Ralph Sampson as he took the ball to the basket.
It occurs to me, Doug, that players read statistics too, and they know the area they're deficient in, and they've come out and tried to do something about it.
Well, you know, when you get into a series like this, especially when it's down to one game or one team's going to go home, the weakness that you have, you've got to do something about it. One of the strengths that Utah has had has been the free throw line. They've shot over 80% in the series, which has kept them alive, because when you look at the other statistics, Gary, they have no right to even be here today in Game 5.
Well, Houston's only been shooting in the 50 percentile from the free throw line. Bailey missing, and that's uncharacteristic for him. He was shooting 84% in the regular season. 11-9, the Rockets with the lead. 7 minutes to go in the first period. Sampson, double team on him. And he's 7'3" or whatever, and gets up that high. It's impossible to block the shot.
Thurl Bailey has done a good job on him in the series, forcing Ralph Sampson into a poor shooting percentage. But Ralph today is posting up very well, getting good position down low, and finishing off his little jump shot.
There's Green anticipating Griffith too far out on the floor. Nice save by Darrell. Here's Bailey again. That's a little far out for him, don't you think?
Yes, it is, and it was a quick shot as well. He really wanted to pass the ball, and at the last second, he took the shot. They need to get the ball inside a little bit more, get to the free throw line.
Sampson's got to take in the offensive blow. That will not count. Olajuwon on the follow, the foul before. But Ralph Sampson now looking for his shot.
Thurl Bailey had the pleasure of defeating Ralph Sampson's team in the NCAA tournament in Ogden, Utah, and Ralph Sampson does not want that to happen today.
Bailey committed his first foul. We'll have a break at the 6:24 mark of the first period. It out very effectively in the semifinals yesterday, beating the Portland Blazers 125-101. Another game that's running right now concurrently with us is that Philadelphia game and Milwaukee, and now the Sixers lead by 3 in the first period. And don't forget, coming up later today on CBS, game 1 of the Boston-Detroit series. Boy, that's been a high-scoring series in the regular season.
Larry Bird, back to his playoff form, had a great series against Cleveland. I think if he'd have been out again, they would have had a difficult time dispatching of that tough Cleveland Cavalier team in Game 4.
Houston with a 13-9 lead. Doug, we mentioned at the top of this broadcast the offensive rebounds, and look at this. Utah has really come out and done a job in that area.
Well, it saved them right now. They've gotten 7 second shots off the offensive boards, but they've only converted 3 for 14 here early in this first period. A lot of that due to the fact that they're changing a lot of shots inside. Ralph Sampson, McCray, and Akeem, all excellent shot blockers, and will force you to change your shot in the lane.
Jeff Wilkins now has checked into the game. Thurl Bailey will sit down. Bailey looked a little hurried to me out there.
Jeff Wilkins has played very, very well. He's shooting the ball from the perimeter. In fact, he's the 3rd leading scorer in this series off the bench. So see if they try to run a play maybe for a little jump shot for Jeff Wilkins. Utah shooting only 36% from the field, 60 for Houston. There's what you talked about. Wilkins doesn't get it though, and the Jazz are ice cold. Lewis Lloyd. Lewis Lloyd out of Overbrook High School in Philadelphia, played collegiately at Drake. And it's a 15-9 lead for Houston. Dantley going inside, and that shot not going where he wanted it. Eaton trying to battle for it. We're going to have a loose ball foul. Going to go against Rodney McCray. McCray, in the estimation of Bill Fitch, when he becomes a consistent outside shooter, will be a complete player. Adrian Dantley really forcing the action, trying to get the ball inside. He has not been to the free throw line. That's something we'll have to watch. Can he get to the free throw line? Wilkins trying to horse it in. They are hitting the boards, but things are not going in. There one goes in. Good second effort that time by Adrian Dantley. Cuts the advantage to 4. 15-11 Houston. Sampson again. Wilkins playing on him. Rebound Lloyd. And they grab his arm. Darrell Griffith reaching in, committing the foul. Gary, on that particular play, I did not watch what was going on the ball. I watched away from the ball, and Darrell Griffith did not even know where Lewis Lloyd was on the floor. He slipped right in to get the offensive rebound. That's something you can't do. You've got to take away the second shots, especially from the guards. You can't let them slip in there and get second shots. 5:16 to go. First period. Rodney McCray off balance shot. Dantley with a rebound out to Darrell Griffith. And he took it around Lewis Lloyd and inside for 2. 2-point game. Then Mike Griffith started. He looked a little shaky in the early going. This whole Utah team trying hard, but things not happening the way they wanted to. Lucas into Akeem. As he wheels in, that basket will count. Good continuation play. Akeem in his first year has learned that in the pros very well. You're going to see Utah's philosophy on defense. They play Mark Eaton behind Akeem Olajuwon. They want him to shoot the fadeaway jumper, not let him get around Mark Eaton. You see him behind him in that particular play. The problem was Adrian Dantley came over, reached in, and got the reach-in foul to give Akeem the opportunity to finish off the 3-point play. Dantley committing his first personal foul. Akeem hits a free throw. Now Houston not a very good free throw shooting team. Olajuwon only shooting 61% during the regular season, and so they're able to capitalize on that one. They took a lot of time shooting free throws yesterday in practice. Ricky Green baseline. Olajuwon with a rebound. Ralph Sampson forced him to change that shot. He ran at him just as Ricky Green started to release it and forced an air ball. Lucas on the move. Eaton brings it down out to Ricky Green, and this is his play here. Watch him go. Lloyd was down, but still couldn't get the angle on him. That is Bill Fitch's concern, letting Ricky Green get in the open court. He has the speed to take it all the way to the basket. He has 3 of those hoops already early in the game. Olajuwon over Eaton. He had to change the arc of the ball. Nice save, but into the wrong side. Here comes Lloyd to Sampson. Darrell Griffith committing a sin there in terms of he did not come back to the ball. He tried to float away instead of going and attack the ball. Ricky Green had saved it. He kicked it back to Lewis Lloyd, who took advantage of the mistake by Darrell Griffith. Again, we'll keep you posted on that Philadelphia game, and the Sixers now leading 22-17 over Milwaukee. There's a turnover against Utah. That's their 4th. The Rockets with a 20-15 lead. 3:45 to go in period 1. Lucas, who was the #1 draft pick of Houston back in 1976. Sampson and Darrell Gerritsen spotting illegal defense. A warning against the Utah Jazz. Bill Fitch has Akeem Olajuwon spread out behind the 3-point line to force Mark Eaton to come out of that lane to play him, to open things up for Ralph Sampson. That time, referee Darrell Gerritsen spotted the illegal defense and warned the Utah Jazz. Next time, it's a technical. Green missed the shot. An easy shot. Wilkins goaltending.
Sampson up, rejected it. And again, Utah's had to work so hard to get anything to drop. They trail by 3.
Well, Utah got a break there because Ricky Green's shot was actually goaltended. The referee did not call it, but they were able to get a second shot for the score.
Lloyd has that explosive move inside. He loves to take it to the basket. Sampson is there. Lost it. Darrell Griffith out to Green. Wilkins. It's a tough shot for a big man to pull up like that.
That's a good shot, though, Gary, for him. He likes that shot. Right now, he just seems to be guiding it rather than attacking the basket.
Well, they're attacking Eaton from both sides. We're going to have a jump ball. Elijah Wan and Adrian Dantley each get a piece of it. And we're going to have a timeout with 2:50 to go in this first period. The Rockets leading the Jazz 20-17.
Yes.
What's Slayton upset about? Houston with a 3-point lead. My broadcasting partner, Doug Collins, in 1972, was on the Olympic team that played in Munich, that ill-fated ending against the Russians. Doug was sent to the free throw line. He had to hit one to tie, and this free throw put him ahead. And then the USSR, after 3 opportunities to inbounds the ball, this being the third one, was able to pull the game out. And Doug, as I understand, the entire basketball team refused to take their silver medals after this was all over.
That's right, Gary. Today I didn't get a gold medal. I have not gotten a silver medal, but what an opportunity to play in that. I guess that brings back a lot of memories.
I was looking at you. You looked like you had just gotten up. I guess you'd gotten floored just before that free throw. Huh?
I'd gotten knocked out on the drive and knocked a little crazy. I think that's why I made the 2 free throws.
Here's Stockton, who just checked into the game, and he hits the deck. And that's going to be a foul. It looked to me like Stockton fell over his own feet, but they're saying he was tripped on the play. Anyway, Stockton just checked in. Let's see. What do you think? Watch this.
No,
yes, sir. He tripped over his own feet.
Well, I don't know, Gary. It looked like John Lucas might have stepped on his left.
Yeah, but they were both going for the ball. Hey, guys, can we see that again? We got a big argument brewing here.
There's also been a technical foul. Skippy steps on his left heel. John Lucas, watch his left heel, Gary, right there.
I don't think so. Anyway, Stockton missed the first. He hit the second. And that will make it a 20-18 game. The Rockets by 2. Bill Fitch really upset about that. And our replay could show that he might have a reason to, but I still think he tripped himself.
Well, it was a little incidental thing. He did step on his foot. And whether they ruled that was enough to force him to fall or not, that's the whole key of that play.
Anyway, they've got a chance to tie this ball game up. Dantley with McRae on him. Here is Stockton out of Gonzaga. Their #1 draft pick. Mark Eaton looking down at the basket as he shot it. Here comes Sampson.
Mark Eaton has had some tough luck on some shots. He's had great low post position, just not getting that little hook shot to drop. He's got to keep taking that shot, though. That is a very good play for the Utah Jazz to keep working and hopefully have him get an opportunity to get some better luck.
Thus far, Houston still at their same 5 that started the game. Eaton with another block. McRae bounced it off of him, but it's saved by the Jazz. Darrell Griffith. There's a 3-point attempt. That's just part of his everyday operation. He loves to shoot that. He had 92 3-point plays this year that he was able to cash in on. That's a new NBA record.
John Stockton in the ball game, giving Ricky Green a little bit of a rest. He's done a very good job for the Utah Jazz this year. Very heady player.
Lucas hitting. You know, Frank Layden very quietly said he felt like he got his team too tired in that game Friday. Didn't save him down the stretch.
And I think that's why you see more substitutions. Adrian Dantley just cannot get to the free throw line, getting the ball inside, but Houston not fouling him.
McRae takes on Eaton, and Elijah Wan follows. Boy, is he impressive on that. They're going to have a foul on Mark Eaton. And coming into the ball game is going to be Rich Kelly for Eaton. Rich Kelly has not been playing all that much, and Thurl Bailey has come back in for Adrian Dantley. Kelly, they feel they need him in here for his playoff experience.
Also his high post passing. He's a very good passer up high. He played in the Phoenix Suns system, the way they like to bring that player out, a lot like Alva Adams did this year, Gary, and use him as a passer. Maybe it opens something up inside for Jeff Wilkins or Thurl Bailey posting up.
So McCray, another free throw coming. Foul by Eaton. If you're confused, Olajuwon's follow again did not count. That's twice he's followed after the play had been called. I tell you, Utah has to be pleased, Doug. They're only down by 4 the way they're shooting the ball.
Well, they just cannot get anything to drop, but they're getting good shots. That's the key. You just got to hope that as the game progresses, those shots will start to fall for you.
Reach in McCray, the good defender he is. Lucas on the move. Stockton back with him, and Stockton commits a foul. John Lucas hitting hard, but he'll be all right. That shows you how difficult it's been for the Jazz to get anything to drop. So Lucas will go to the free throw line. John Lucas, who was such an outstanding tennis player, the ACC singles champion, world team tennis, man who has had some personal problems, but has battled back from them. And I'll tell you, Bill Fitch has really kept some close range, tight reins on him, and it's worked very effectively.
John Lucas has also got off to a big start in this first period. He's taken the ball to the basket, going to his right, and sort of confusing the Utah players right now because he is a left-handed player.
24-18, the Rockets with the lead. Wilkins, Kelly follows. Rich Kelly out of Stanford. And Kelly, who's the older statesman on this team, he was 4 years with the New Orleans Jazz and now 3 with the Utah Jazz. So he's been very familiar to Jazz fans. Now you see the Sixers have built their lead.
Philadelphia has played Milwaukee very well at home, beating them 2 or 3 times this year at the Mecca.
Nice turnaround move by Olajuwon. Is he quick for a big man?
Well, he's got that quick drop step. And I tell you, the more playing experience he gets, he's going to be so familiar in that low post. He's going to be a tough man to handle as his career continues to progress.
You see, we're approaching 30 seconds in the first period. Wilkins gets it to Kelly. He walked to the ball.
There's the intimidation factor of the shot blockers. Rich Kelly trying to get his feet together to draw the personal foul. He fumbled the pass, and then Sampson and Olajuwon both waiting to intimidate him and swat his shot away if he took it.
We talked about Eaton leading the NBA in block shots, but the number 2 guy is in this game too, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Tell you, 2-to-1 margin. That tells you how important Mark Eaton is. He had 546 block shots on the season.
He could have won the title by January 18th if he'd never blocked another shot. Here's Lloyd on the move, the finger roll. Mishaw, who's checked in. Larry Mishaw tries to follow. Sampson. Stockton bats it away. Lloyd's got it. And a rainbow jumper, and McCray can't get it to go. Sampson will try again, and wait a minute.
That should not count. The clock went off. That should not count.
You cannot hear the buzzer very well. Frank Layden was arguing that during the last timeout, and now he's at center court restating his debate.
Look for the red light on the basket. If the red light is on, the shot should not count. Watch it above the basket. If it comes on, keep your eye open. There it is. The quarter should be over. That should not count.
Now, coming into this game, Daryl Garrettson knew that they had some problems with the buzzer. In fact, it doesn't automatically go off, so they were going to use the light as a determining factor, and it would be the officials' judgment. And right now, I think the officials are saying that the clock had expired. Let's see.
Just focus in on the light above the basket. You'll see right in the middle of the backboard, you'll see the red light come on. There it is. That ends the quarter. This basket should not count.
And so after 1 period of play, the Rockets with a 26-20 advantage. And there's the debate still going on. Daryl Garrettson was aware of this problem. He called the coaches over, talked to them prior to the start of this game. It's already, though, has come into become an issue in this game. We'll be back, period number 2, in a moment.
There was no basket. It came after the time had expired.
For the 17th time this year, they have sold out the Summit. Game number 5 between the Houston Rockets and the Utah Jazz. The winner of this game will play the winner of tonight's game between Denver and San Antonio. As we have come through 1 period of play, the Rockets lead the Utah Jazz 26-20. I'm Gary Bender along with Doug Collins.
Adrian Dantley has moved into the backcourt now to run along with Ricky Green. Look for him to try to take Lewis Lloyd inside, maybe to post him up.
Utah shooting miserably in that first period, Doug, shooting only 27% from the field. Houston 42.
Well, what kept them alive was the fact that they did get on the offensive boards much better than they had in the series, 12-9. So they sort of reversed what the problem has been a little bit. Now they've just got to be able to hit the open shot.
Well, Eaton has not scored in that first period, and Dantley did not go to the free throw line. Something we want to watch closely, and Sampson walked to the ball.
Utah has a big lineup on the floor right now. They have Rich Kelly at forward, Mark Eaton in the post, and Thurl Bailey. So they go 7'4" or 7'5", 6'11", and 7 feet across the front line, and then Adrian Dantley in the back court. So right now they have a very big team on the floor.
There's Bailey from a long ways out. Kelly with the rebound. Shoots it over Larry Mishaw. They still can't get the ball to go down. Eaton can't get it. Frustration for the Jazz. Kelly tries to save it in, but let's see. We're going to have a foul, I believe, on Mishaw for pushing.
Mark Eaton has had some great opportunities to score on second shots. He's just shooting the ball a little bit too hard off the backboard right now. He needs to soften that shot up just a little bit, but we can see the size of Mark Eaton being played by Mishaw right now in the low post. They should go to Mark Eaton and try to exploit that mismatch.
They list Mishaw at 6'9", but he's more like 6'7", 6'8", and here is the difference. You can see Eaton shooting down at the basket again, but he just can't buy a basket. No points in the ball game. Lewis Lloyd. Sampson. Kelly batted it away. This is not a pretty game right now. Here comes Dantley. He was off balance. Green doesn't get it. They've got to be shooting in the 15th percentile right now from the field as we have a foul coming back up the floor. That foul will go on Kelly.
Excuse me, Gary. John Lucas looking at his teammates saying, we've got to get back. I mean, that particular time, Houston had 3 players on the other end of the court as Utah was going to the basket.
Again, Utah has to be, I guess, pleased that they're not down by more than 6 points the way they're shooting. I see Akeem Olajuwon now is checked back into the ball game.
They're going to go to him against Mark Eaton down low with that spin move.
That's what was so effective Friday night. McCray following. Another shot.
There is a lid on both baskets right now.
I'll say that again. Here's Bailey out of control. Got rid of it to Dantley. Broken up. It is unbelievable, Doug, to try to get this ball in the basket. It's going to go to Houston. Robert Reed now is going to check in. Philadelphia with a 39-30 lead. Understand that Mo Cheeks had 10 points in that first period.
When you talk about playoff basketball, you talk about no easy shots. Both of these teams around the basket are contesting every shot, and that's why the percentages are so low.
Robert Reed, as you could see, has come into the game, but before he plays, we're going to have a break. 9:59 to go in the first half. The Rockets lead it by 6. They have not scored in the second period. This is unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And then all right.
It's unbelievable. It's like two boxers. They can't knock each other out. Yeah, I'll set it up. In fact, I'll set up. The shooting's been poor, but boy, was it sizzling Friday night in the last 28 seconds. What are the stats now? Can you update the shooting stats again, please, Dave? The field goal percentage again, update it. Well, the shooting has not been good today, but Friday night, Darrell Griffith put on some show. The three-point variety as he came down the last 28 seconds and hit 3 of them.
And some of them from deep. I'm talking way out on the floor. He hits 3 straight three-pointers to bring them from an 11-point deficit to a 2-point deficit in only 28 seconds.
And he hit 4 in a row if you go back even farther. Now, let's look at this stat. Here's what he did. That 92 is an NBA record. Well, but if you convert that now into a 2-point shot.
Well, Gary, what I went through, 92 of 257 is only 36%, but it comes out to 276 points. For Darrell Griffith to score 276 points on 257 shots, he has to make 138 two-point shots, which is 53% shooting. That's why the Jazz use that as part of their offense, the three-point shot, because it is a very good weapon during the course of a game.
Darrell out of the ball game. We have Green, Kelly, Eaton, along with Dantley and Bailey. Lucas, Lloyd, Misha. This is Robert Reed, who just checked in, along with Olajuwon.
Robert Reed has given this team a good lift off the bench in 2 of the series games thus far. He struggled the first game.
John Lucas able to nail it. He has 10 points.
John Lucas, the old steady hand, again, pump faking, getting Ricky Green off balance, leaning inside and converting the shot.
Utah still hasn't scored in the second period of play, and foul by Hugh Hollins, picking it up away from the ball. It's going to go on Olajuwon, I guess, away from the ball.
Adrian Dantley was slashing hard to the basket, and he was fouled on his cut, so Utah will inbound the ball from the side with a new 24-second shot clock.
Akeem picking up his first foul of the ball game. Right now, Utah is shooting 24% from the field. There's Reed on the steal, the veteran of so many playoffs. Off to Lucas, rejected by Kelly. Misha to follow. Larry Misha, who was with the Kansas City Kings, then coming over here, coming home, where he played at the University of Houston. He's found a home.
Well, he's given him a banger off the bench, a role player. That time, nice follow-up on a John Lucas drive that was rejected.
Frank Layton's team struggling. That's an understatement. They trail by 10. 9:04 to go in this first half. They've got to get the lid off the basket. Crazy. Gary Bender along with Doug Collins, 30-20, as we have 9+ left in the second period, and the whole story has been field goal percentage. Utah has missed their last 6 shots, still haven't scored in the second period.
Well, if they weren't offensive rebounding, they would be down by 20 right now. They've gotten 11 points off the offensive board. See if they try to go to Adrian Dantley to get him down low on Robert Reed, maybe get to the free throw line or a score. They've got to get him scoring down low.
John Stockton is checked back into the ball game for Frank Layden. They have 5 seconds on the shot clock. 2. Stockton from 3 points range. Rebound by Bailey. They reset the clock.
Again, a second shot.
Darrell Griffith. Well, he has a picturesque jump shot.
Frank Layden told us yesterday that when he wants his players to learn how to shoot the shot, he says, just stand behind Darrell Griffith and watch the way you're supposed to shoot the ball.
That was the first 2 points of the second period by the Jazz, coming with just inside 9 minutes to go in this period. Robert Reed from outside. Eaton brings it out of there. Griffith lost it. Lewis Lloyd rebounds his own. Stockton comes out with it. And Stockton is fouled by Olajuwon, and that'll be the second on Akeem.
You know, Bill Fitch has not substituted yet his guards. John Lucas and Lewis Lloyd have gone the whole way right now. They've played, what, 16 consecutive minutes. He's got to go to the bench here in a minute and get a guard in the ball game.
Going to the bench is Layden, as that's Fred Roberts, 33, who's checked into the game. And now, as you talk about it, we have a change. Mitchell Wiggins comes into the guard spot. Lloyd will go out.
He is a very good outside shooter. He did a nice job in Game 4 getting to the offensive boards, hitting the outside shot, so he's a very capable replacement for Lewis Lloyd.
And on the other hand, Roberts is kind of one of those in-between players. 6'10", he can play the big guard or the forward. He loses the ball, though, as he checks in.
Just a little bit too much of a hurry. Fred Roberts coming off the bench. You don't want something to happen quickly. You got to get yourself going before you try some quick move.
Lucas, who has 10 points already in this game. Stockton comes out. They say Stockton's as fast as Ricky Green, and that's saying something. Bailey into Roberts, broken up by Misha. Here comes Reed. Robert Reed will pull up again. He started out miserably in this series, 1 of 9 from the field, but now seems to have it back.
In fact, Bill Fitch told us yesterday he thought he was playing for Utah in Game 1. 1 for 9 from the field, 1 for 4 from the free throw line, but he's heated up as the series has gone along with his playoff experience.
I remember the 80-81 championship series he was in. He played so well in that against the Celtics. Stockton hits from outside. Turnovers in this game, Utah with 12, Houston with 9.
That goes right along with the way the series has been. In the series, Utah has 78 turnovers. Houston only 58, so they're averaging 5 more turnovers per game.
6:58 to go until half. 32-24. Houston. Lucas trying to create some things. Batted off of the Utah Jazz, and Houston will reset it. Houston came in here with a 48-34 record in the regular season. That was second in the Midwest Division, second only to the Denver Nuggets, as now Griffith comes in for Dantley.
Adrian Dantley getting his first rest of the game. He had started out at forward, moved to the backcourt. Darrell Griffith back in the game now, matching up against Mitchell Wiggins.
Dantley leads with only 4 points. Here's Reed. He has the hot hand now. He can do that. He's a streak shooter.
Well, he came out yesterday in practice and recreated Darrell Griffith's last 28 seconds. Hit 3 straight three-pointers yesterday for us in practice, so he definitely has the range.
Thurl Bailey, Olajuwon with the rejection. Mitchell Wiggins. Wiggins, a former Chicago Bull, changed the shot. Griffith will bring it out. 3-on-2 break. Griffith intended for Bailey, and Wiggins got back in time to bat it out of bounds. Philadelphia leading by 12 in the second period.
If Darrell Griffith has a weakness, it's his decision-making on the fast break, especially when in the middle of the floor. He should learn to pull up, take that little jump shot, or get himself a little bit better under control to make that pass to a guy cutting to the basket.
We have a holding foul away from the ball on this inbounds, and it's going to go on Robert Reed, his first personal foul.
That'll be an automatic 2-shot foul. The ball had not been in play. It's a dead ball foul, so Fred Roberts will shoot 2 free throws.
Fred Roberts, who played at BYU. He was a teammate of Danny Ainge, and he was acquired in December from San Antonio. And they're going to try to use him next year, the big guard spot. They have the summertime to convert him into that position.
Well, he has the agility to play that, especially with the league going to such big guards. Your Magic Johnson, some of these players who are so big, if he can go out on the floor and play those kind of people, he will really give Utah a versatile kind of player.
34-25 Houston. So many of these games in this series had a wide spread at half, and then things would change, and that might be the case here today. 11-point lead Friday by Utah at half. They collapse on Olajuwon, and John Stockton commits the foul.
Mark Eaton taking away the drop step on the baseline. He's playing behind Olajuwon. He's going to force him to shoot the jumper. Olajuwon likes to spin baseline. Mark Eaton would not give it to him, forcing him back the middle, but John Stockton with another reach-in foul.
Bill Fitch said, what a joy it is to be around Akeem. He's not spoiled. He's only been in organized basketball 5 years, and very appreciative of everything that he has. Said also you can't take things for granted with it.
He said he told them that he was leaving on the bus one day at 5:45. Says the bus leaves at 5:45, Akeem, and he said he got a call in his room and he says, Coach, what do I wear on the bus? You know, where do I meet it? So Bill Fitch realizes that this is a new world for Akeem Olajuwon, and I'd say he's going to be a star in this league.
He's fitting in very well. 6 minutes to go, first half. 10-point advantage now by the Rockets. Griffith still not dropping for it. Robert Reed, who's really helped this ball club since coming off the bench. Lucas will bring it back out. 31-year-old John Lucas.
Houston doing very well right now with 3 reserves in the game. They've got Mishaw, Robert Reed, and Mitchell Wiggins off the bench, and they're holding their own right now with this Utah team with their substitutes.
That'll be off of Utah. Dantley will come in, and for the first time now, we'll see Lionel Hollins, a veteran who played on that '77 World Championship team in Portland.
Yes, he did. He defeated the 76ers when I was playing. We had him down 2-0. They stormed back when he was with Portland, beat us 4-2. He's had a lot of playoff experience. He's been a champion. He's also, played with the Sixers in many playoff wars. He's a former teammate of mine, and Lionel Hollins, a very steady player who Bill Fitch feels is the MVP on the team.
Now, Bill Fitch is up. He's talking to the scorer's table. The scorer's table having a difficult first half. Dantley coming back in with the 4 points. They've got to get him to the free throw line. Lionel Hollins comes out and shoots one up in a hurry.
Well, he had to take that shot to beat the shot clock. There were only 5 seconds on the clock, so Lionel, with a presence of mind, and know he had to get a quick shot at the basket.
Lionel really is a stabilizer on this team. With that playoff experience you're talking about, they have a different personality when he's in there as opposed to Lucas.
That's why he took him out as a starter. He felt like that the starting team could handle the improvisation more of John Lucas than they could with the second unit.
There's another missed shot inside by Bailey as their frustration continues inside, but Utah will get another crack at the 5:02 mark of this first half. 35-25, Houston leads Utah. Utah has really had a difficult time shooting the ball.
Robert Reed, a good defensive player position-wise.
Stockton missing. Eaton tries to come out of there with it. Here comes Hollins out of Arizona State. And I think he traveled. He did. One too many steps on that one. And that'll give it back to the Jazz.
Bill Fitch telling Lionel Hollins, stop at the free throw line. If they fade away from you, then take the little 15-footer.
Trying to take a page out of John Lucas's book there. That's not his type of play. Inside Dantley, and wait a minute, they think they should have had some goaltending. Frank Clayton upset about that.
I agree with Frank Clayton. I thought that shot was goaltended after Adrian Dantley got fouled.
Instead, it's going to be a foul against Robert Reed, and Dantley finally getting to the free throw line.
Well, the Jazz's fortunes in this series have been in direct correlation with how many times he's been to the free throw line. When he gets there, they have won. When he is not, they have lost.
Last year, for instance, he had 800 free throws. Now this year, not as many because he was hurt and had that contract dispute.
Let's watch to see if we see the goaltending. See if the ball hits the basket. It hit the backboard, and Akeem came over. That should have been goaltending. And Frank Clayton and Jerry Sloan both up off their feet to try to make their point, but Darryl Garrison said, no way.
Ralph Sampson is checked back into the ball game as Dantley able to get the roll. He's an 80% free throw shooter. 35-27, 4.5 to go in Game 5. The winner to play the winner of Denver, San Antonio. Sampson, Bailey, good position on the boards, and almost intercepted by Hollins. Taken away by Mitchell Wiggins. 13 turnovers now against Utah.
Utah would like to get the ball in the middle of Ricky Green. Keep it out of everyone else's hands until it's time to shoot. Let Ricky Green make the play happen.
There's Reed. You can just tell when a guy's shooting with confidence, and he is now.
He was out here early before the game.
Robert Reed went on a 13-month sabbatical, a religious sabbatical, and has come back, and some of the game still hasn't returned, but he can still shoot it. 57-46, the Sixers leading the Bucks. Darrell Griffith, that's a two-pointer.
What range he has on that jump shot from a standstill position to be able to raise up from that kind of distance and shoot the ball tells you a lot about his, not only his leg and strength, but also his ability to flick that wrist quickly.
37-29, Reed on the move. Sampson tried to follow, Eaton rips it down. Mark Eaton, who this year was 5th in the NBA in rebounding, now already has 10 in the game, and there's the foul inside. It's going to go on Larry Mishaw, his second. The Pistons and Celtics to come up later. Remember earlier this year, Doug, we were talking about a game in Hartford where Bird won that game at the buzzer?
That was his second game-winning shot in back-to-back. He beat, I think it was Portland on Sunday in Boston, and then he came back 2 days later and did the same thing to the Pistons, and that was able to make K.C. Jones the all-star coach with the shot that he hit against Portland.
Darrell Griffith at the free throw line, and all of a sudden now, Doug, they're back within 6 despite all that poor shooting.
They have to be counting their blessings right now that they're not down by 20. They've hung tough, and with a quick spurt, they could take control of this game. I'm sure Bill Fitch, very pensive on the side, realizing that as well.
Ricky Green can't quite get the handle on the ball, and so Houston will reset it.
Ricky Green reminds me so much of Maurice Cheeks from Philadelphia. His speed, his quickness with the ball, his defensive ability and stealing capabilities in the open floor.
Ricky Green, in the estimation of Layden, may be the guy that they could most ill afford to lose on this team. There's Hollins, and Green comes up with another one. His perseverance is really paying off. Look at him fly to the floor. He's going to be all right, I think. He hit the deck, no foul. I don't know how they didn't call a foul on that one. Mitchell Wiggins at the other end. Eaton comes down out of there, and that shows you how much stronger Mark Eaton is this year. Here's Bailey.
Oh, what a power move.
That looked like there was some anger behind that.
Oh,
I think there should have been a foul, don't you, on that previous play?
I agree. Ricky Green got buried on the break. There was no call, and Thurl Bailey came back and just with power drove the ball to the basket.
Green is talking to Daryl Garrettson as he retreats to the sideline. It's getting pretty hectic here. Can you believe they didn't call a foul on that? Gee, Chris.
I tell you, this game right now, officiating wise, they're just letting the guys kill each other.
Yes, sir. You got her. Either that or show the one that we thought should have been a foul. Gee.
Hey, I tell you, if you got the Ricky Green shot where he's taking it to the basket, he just got driven into the basket support. That's a foul.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I'd like to see that.
All right.
Is this that's up to date or for the quarter? That's just the quarter. Okay. Okay. There's Bailey, you mean? Okay. Yeah. Houston with a 37-33 advantage, and coming up with the half, Pat O'Brien is in our New York studios, where he once again is joined by Phoenix coach John McLeod, and they'll bring you completely up to date with highlights of Game 1 between Philadelphia and Milwaukee, which is going on right now in the East, and we'll see why the world champion Boston Celtics are having their troubles. And we'll go live to Boston for a look ahead to today's late doubleheader game between the Celtics and the Pistons. All that and more coming up at the half. The free throw, I should say the field goal percentage in the second quarter now. Utah continuing to struggle with 27, but Houston's dropped off now. They're to 26.
They have taken some tough shots against this Utah team because of Mark Eaton being back in the middle. You don't want to get into the habit of taking everything into the basket, especially when right now the officials are not giving you the little incidental contact. You got to pull up and take the shot because he's going to make you change everything inside. That was a 10-second violation.
There's 14 seconds on the shot clock. That would be right.
In NBA, you do not get a new count. If there's a timeout and there's been 6 seconds to expire off the shot clock, you only have 4 seconds to get the ball across half court. Houston fell asleep, and that's an unforced turnover by the Houston Rockets.
You ever had that happen to you?
Well, normally you come out of a timeout and you say, look, we only got 4 seconds. You got to get it across the half court line, and Houston just had a little bit of a lapse at that point. 37-33, the Rockets with the lead into Dantley. That's his territory, and Adrian now has cut it to 2 points in this game with 2:11 to go in the first half. 8 points for Dantley. Again, Utah, with all these problems, still trailing by only 2. Lucas, nice change of shot with Eaton in his face. He had to shoot that ball up about 13 feet in the air to get it over Mark Eaton's outstretched arm. But a good give and go from Ralph Sampson to John Lucas cutting to the basket.
Lucas with 12 points, strong first half for the Rockets.
Robert Reed and Adrian Dantley really going at it in the low post.
Here's Ricky Green, and now Utah starting to find the range. 8 points for Ricky Green. Back to a 2-point game.
We have a delay of game warning against the Utah Jazz. This is the action underneath Robert Reed and Adrian Dantley. Dantley trying to get low post position. Guys really pushing and shoving, and you see Adrian Dantley hit the ball with his fist. That's a delay of game warning. The next one, a technical foul against Utah.
Lewis Lloyd trying to use the screen by Sampson. He's in trouble, but he's fouled as he made the move inside. And now it looks like Eaton is shaken up on the play. Down, shaking it up. I'll tell you, when you're that big and you fall, you got a long ways to go. Darrell Griffith picked up the foul, his second.
I don't know if Mark Eaton injured a knee or if he twisted an ankle or got kicked in the shin, but right now he is in pain, and the trainer, Don Sparks, out on the floor to check it out.
We're going to look at it and see if we can pick up just what this injury is.
Oh, he twisted his ankle. That's what it was. Lewis Lloyd came down and he twisted his right ankle.
And that is a big ankle. He wears a size 15 shoe. And
you know what? They're looking at his knee, though. I wonder if when he twisted his ankle, it caused him to injure a knee.
Well, Rich Kelly will come in, and Eaton walking it off.
Look at the inside of his knee. The way his knee has buckled here on the fall.
I think he's going to be all right, Doug. He's walking off now, even jogging, as you can see, returning to the side. Now, this year, it's really been something as far as block shots are concerned. Look what Eaton did by himself.
Well, I think this shows you how valuable Mark Eaton is. He was the Defensive Player of the Year, but he blocked 456 shots by himself. Look at the entire Houston front line. You're talking about an Elijah Wan and a Sampson. They only had 7 more along with McCray, their whole front line.
And Akeem, again, remember, was second with 220 in the NBA. What a big difference between number 1 and 2. They're going to take Eaton into the dressing room as Sampson on a sweeping hook. So Mark will go in. They'll look at it as they have 1:08 left in this first half. They'll get in and try to get him ready for the second half of play.
I did not like the looks of that knee injury, the way that knee buckled on the inside, and Mark Eaton very upset. I tell you, Gary, I'm going to go on a limb. I'll be very surprised if he can come out and play in the second half after twisting his knee. Although he is big and mobility is not a big factor for him, he looked like he twisted his knee pretty good there.
We'll check and get the status as soon as possible. That last foul, by the way, was on Bailey. And the three-point play makes it 42-37. Bailey comes back at the other end, sits and whips it down. Off to Lloyd. To Elijah Wan. A little spurt here now after Utah had cut it to 2.
Frank Layden telling his team, relax, let's get the ball inside to Dantley, maybe get to the free throw line.
There was a pass intended for Dantley. Nice reach over by McCray.
Quick shot to try to get Darrell Griffith a jump shot. Maybe even a three-pointer.
I think he thought that they should get a fresh 24, but there was no shot near the rim as Dantley now wheels inside and he's fouled.
What the referee rule was, there was no control on the rebound. The ball was not in control of Houston, so therefore, since it was an air ball, the shot clock did not recycle.
We understand they're going to x-ray the knee of Mark Eaton. The preliminary indication, a hyperextension of the knee, but that's always a catch-all phrase in the early prognosis.
What that tells you is he twisted his knee, and we're going to check out to see how much damage there is. And Adrian Dantley at the free throw line, only for his 3rd and 4th attempts of the ball game.
Dantley in game 1 had 34 points. He had 20 points on Friday. How they can offset that offensive rebound is to get him at the free throw line, as now Hollins will come in for John Lucas.
On the series, Utah has made 51 more free throws than the Houston Rockets, which has kept them close.
33 seconds left in this first half. Frank Layden's team had cut it to 2, now trail 44-38. And of course, in the back of his mind has to be the status of Mark Eaton. Will he be able to continue? Mark Eaton, the NBA Defensive Player of the Year, their outstanding rebounder. And right now, the Jazz, who have overcome some very, very poor field goal shooting, climbed within 2 and still very much in the picture, pending, of course, the status of Eaton. Philadelphia's led all the way in that one, Doug.
Looks like Philadelphia is starting to get ahead of steamrolling. They started out against Washington and struggled a little bit, had a big win at the Cap Center, and Milwaukee's going to have a difficult time climbing uphill from a 15-point deficit against a good defensive team like the 76ers.
And then later today, part of our doubleheader, Detroit against Boston. From the Boston Garden, as we said in the past, they've scored a lot of points in that series. It's not surprising when you look at the lineup.
I think the key for the Boston Celtics is who is going to contain Isaiah Thomas. One of the keys for them has always been their backcourt play. This year, Danny Ainge, Dennis Johnson, 2 big guards. Does anyone have the quickness to maintain or contain Isaiah Thomas?
Adrian Dantley at the line with 33 seconds to go in the first half. Dantley cuts it to 5.
Alan Level has checked into the ball game now for the Houston Rockets. He's their best free throw shooter in pressure situations, as Bill Fitch feels, so he's got him in maybe to handle the ball. He's a very experienced player.
He had 66 straight in practice the other day as McCray on a reverse attempt fouled. Nope, wait a minute.
Stepped on the end line.
Kelly thought they may have called the foul. Now they'll go for 1 shot in this remaining first half.
See if they run a three-pointer for Darrell Griffith. A lot of times they like to end the half with a three-pointer, thinking the defense is going to be packed in. They might try to penetrate with Ricky Green, kick it out for a three-pointer for Griffith.
three-pointer. You called it. Rebound out to level, and that's going to end our first half of play. That throw down the floor hit the shot clock. Physical game thus far. Biggest lead in the first half, 10 points by Houston, and Jeff Wilkins gets him started well. 44-41. He's going to have to carry the load if Eaton does not come back.
Well, he's not going to be able to do it defensively, but Gary, he can do it offensively. He can make them an inside scorer against Olajuwon.
Here's Hakeem, and he'll answer at the other end.
So that's where you lose a Mark Eaton. His defense forcing Olajuwon to change that shot. So Mark Eaton had 10 big rebounds and 4 block shots in 22 minutes of the first half.
There's Thurl Bailey in the running shot. Olajuwon with a rebound out to Lucas. Lucas with a strong first half. He had 12 points. Did pick up 3 personal fouls. Inside to Olajuwon. He fakes Wilkins up. Sampson collapses inside. That basket will count, and he's fouled. And the Twin Towers of Texas now have really started the Rockets in the second half.
You see the game plan right now. It's take the ball inside. Hakeem Olajuwon takes the shot against Jeff Wilkins. Ralph Sampson going right over the top of Thurl Bailey, getting the score, the bump with the body, the opportunity now to finish off the three-point play.
The foul going on Bailey, his third. Sampson now with 13 points in the game. And again, this is not their area. Free throw shooting. Hakeem is fouled, and Jeff Wilkins will pick up the personal foul. Coming up later, this game, and it should be something. From the Boston Garden, the Detroit Pistons, Boston Celtics, game 1 in the semifinals of the Eastern Conference. Larry Bird, I guess that elbow's okay now.
You know, the interesting thing, Gary, they were able the last 3 weeks of the season to coast. You know, has that hurt them? They had a very tough series against Cleveland, and it's going to be wondering whether that really hurt them or not going into the playoffs.
I don't know. No one wants to give Cleveland any credit.
That's right. You know, that's the point being, did Cleveland play great or did Boston not play so well? And I think you'll find out when they play Detroit now.
50-41, the advantage to Houston, just underway. Third period of play. Game 5, the winner to play, the winner of the game later tonight between Denver and San Antonio, and that's thrown away. And the Jazz now have committed in this game a total of 15 turnovers.
Rich Kelly is a good passer, but he tried to thread the needle in traffic to Adrian Dantley. A tough pass to try to make, especially when you're down 9 and you need a basket.
That first half, Utah shot only 28% from the field. Houston 39. Sampson backing in on Wilkins, and it's quite obvious they're trying to take advantage of Eaton being out of there. Follow Olajuwon. Frank Layden's got a timeout. Right now, he sees this game slipping away. This is the biggest lead of the game now for the Houston Rockets. 52-41. 10:25 to go in the third period. Well,
I think.
In this second half, Houston's outscored Utah 8-2, and it's been the board work. With Mark Eaton out of there, they've really hammered the boards well, and we just got an update on Mark Eaton. The treatment to his knee not responding the way they'd want. He may not be back in this game. Here is Dantley. Rebound, Olajuwon. The biggest lead of the game now for the Rockets. Are trying to build it, and Lucas had that ball partially deflected. Lloyd, his 6th offensive rebound, and then he puts it back up and in.
Well, he's really killing Utah on the offensive boards.
Other end, Ricky Green. Green's the guy that brought him back Friday night. Here's Griffith going for the steal. Someone's going to have to lift this ball club with Eaton out of there. Update you now on Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and boy, I tell you, the Sixers are playing well, aren't they?
Milwaukee has never beaten Philadelphia in a playoff series. There might be a little bit of a psychological barrier there in that series.
5 seconds on the shot clock. 3, 2. Lloyd wheeling in as it goes off, and it'll count. How's that for timing? Well,
again, without Mark Eaton back there being the shot blocker, they're taking everything to the basket.
56-43. Team jumping out on Dantley. Wilkins, nice fake that time. Back to Dantley. 2 men in his face, but he nails it anyway. 12 points now for Adrian Dantley.
without Mark Eaton, is Utah good enough defensively to stop the firepower of the Houston attack? That's what's going to be noticed right now. Can they defend well enough to stop Houston?
Lloyd, rebound, Wilkins brings it out to Green. 3-on-1 break. Lucas is back. Griffith will score it. And the Jazz now making a little bit of a push. Timeout, Houston. Bill Fitch did not like the last 2 times down the floor. Darrell Griffith with 10 points. He's getting his point across to John Lucas. They got to get back. With 8:47 to go in this third period, the Rockets with a 56-47 lead. The winner moves on. The loser, the season ends. Houston with a 56-47 lead. At the conclusion of this game, Doug and I will select the Light Beer Most Valuable Player of the game. In conjunction with the award, Light Beer from Miller will present a check for $1,000 to the National Multiple Sclerosis Foundation in that player's name. I want to develop that Mark Eaton injury in a little bit, Doug. You've gone through this ordeal before, and maybe you can give us some insight as they continue to try to get him back in this game. Here's Hakeem inside, and they're taking it to where Eaton isn't. Now, explain this injury to Mark Eaton. You went through this. You can certainly identify with what he's going through.
Well, you know, Gary, when a player gets up and walks off the floor, a lot of times it's a sign, well, the guy's okay. And I went through that with my knee injury. My knee blew out. I tore a major ligament to cartilage. I was able to walk off the floor and thought I was going to play again, and went in and found out that injury had ruined my career. So when a player's warmed up and he's got the adrenaline flowing and he's excited, you're going to be able to mask a lot of the injury until you cool down, and hopefully that's not the case with Mark Eaton.
We've been told he is out for the rest of the game. Well, we don't want to get too gloomy or too dark a picture, but I just wanted people to understand that it's amazing those injuries don't happen more often.
It really is. With the wear and tear the guys put on their legs and the cuts and the force at which they jump.
Backing in Wilkins. Nice reverse spin move by the veteran. He's the guy that may have to give them the lift. They trail by 7.
Ralph Sampson tried to go for the steal when he did. Jeff Wilkins, a quick drop step move, and the basket was completely exposed. Ralph Sampson needs to stay a little bit head up and make Jeff Wilkins shoot that fadeaway jumper.
Trey being pressured by Dantley. Utah this year was second in the NBA on field goal percentage, allowing their opponents this year. They played some tough defense. Lloyd misses. Hakeem inside, and he's fouled, and Hakeem now is really going to work inside.
Well, Rich Kelly is trying so hard to block him off the boards, but the quickness of Hakeem Olajuwon on that jump shot by Lewis Lloyd, he just danced around Rich Kelly. And that's not a knock on Rich Kelly. He just does not have the foot speed to keep Olajuwon off the boards. Frank Layden knows it, but also his next player off the bench, Billy Paulse, does not have that speed either.
There's the only weakness in his game, shooting 61%. You talked about his foot speed. You had an interesting thought about Hakeem. One reason you think he runs so well is his build.
Yeah, I think he has a very big upper body in terms of length of his torso, and his legs are that of a shorter man, so I think it helps him with his speed and agility to get it into the open floor much quicker.
And he has a quick second effort. We've seen that time and time again today. 58-49 Houston, 7:45 to go in the third period. Sampson reaching over Wilkins and committing the foul. Ralph Sampson now has 3, as does Lucas in the ball game. 3 for Bailey of Utah.
Bill Fitch telling Ralph Sampson that's not a foul. We want to commit. Get your hand in, but don't reach over the back for a silly foul.
Dantley having to move out a little farther than he'd like. Sampson with authority on that rebound. Here's McCray. Tender for Lloyd, thrown away. The Sixers now lead by 20 over Milwaukee.
What a big start for Philadelphia. That would take away the home court advantage that Milwaukee worked so hard this season for.
Here's Darrell Griffith working hard for a shot. Sampson, posing figure that he is, giving the ball up, but behind him, and saved that time by Lloyd. That's one fault he has sometimes, open field, open court. He does not handle it the way he should. That basket by Olajuwon gives him 20.
Adrian Dantley's got to be able to get the ball down low. See if he can get it down against Rodney McCray down low. He's trying to come outside. He's not had success on the perimeter. He's not gotten to the free throw line.
Wilkins creating a shot for Kelly. Sampson again with a rebound. He had 18 rebounds Friday. He has 11 this afternoon. Lloyd. Sampson again to Olajuwon. The Twin Towers of Texas are tough. Well, Sampson is taking this game over.
They're just playing volleyball right now on the offensive board. They're just getting shots up. It's the old Celtic philosophy. Get all the shots up you can and attack the offensive boards, and we'll take our chances.
62-49, the biggest lead in Houston. Trying to move ahead into the second round. Dantley's basket will count, and Rodney McCray is guilty of fouling. You know, you lose Eaton, and you lose a 7'4" guy, but it also psychologically has to affect you.
Psychologically, and your rotations and everything. Very interesting. Here's what I figured out today. Adrian Dantley's free throw shootings in this series. In games that they've won, he's been a combined 27 for 37 from the free throw line. In games that they've lost, he's been 13 for 15. That's what I talked about, a direct correlation on how many times he's been to the free throw line and the success of his team in this series.
In this ball game, 10 of 18. Let's see. We'll check that again. He is now, well, Utah's 12 of 14. We'll get Dantley's in a moment. How many times? He's been to the line 6 times. 62-52, 10-point lead now by the Rockets. That was Reed, who's just checked in, who missed the shot. Darrell Griffith. They're getting some breakaway baskets now.
They're getting the ball to Ricky Green in the middle of the floor, and he's making it happen. Darrell Griffith is not trying to handle the ball, Gary. He's running the lanes, and he's finishing it off with nice layups there for the Utah Jazz.
Again, he was the guy that brought him back Friday. John Lucas, who had that strong first half, has his first 2 points second half. Steal attempt, and that's going to be off of Houston or Utah. Let's wait. Darrell Garretson did not see it. He's looking to Hugh Hollins for the call.
Going to be a jump ball.
Now, Darrell did not see it and very wisely waved off, deferred to Hugh Hollins. He didn't see it either.
I think this ball was knocked away from behind by a Utah player. Let's see if he comes in. Watch Darrell Griffith, see if he knocks it away right there. Should have been Houston's basketball, but it was a very difficult call for the official to make, so they'll jump it up between Griffith and Lewis Lloyd.
Bill Fitch's team with a 10-point lead. Griffith will go up against Lloyd.
Griffith has nobody to tap the ball to. He's going to have to tap it back with his left hand. Lewis Lloyd's got the opportunity to tip it right to Olajuwon.
That's exactly what happened. Houston in 80-81 made it to the championship series, returned to the playoffs the next year, and they hadn't been back since that time until this season. Reed has had a strong game now with 8 points. 66-54. The Jazz will have to go without Mark Eaton the rest of the way.
Robert Reed doing a good job keeping Adrian Dantley occupied on the defensive end of the floor, making him work.
Dantley inside. Reed commits the foul. Look at the difference now in this second half without Mark Eaton on the boards.
And most of those are on the offensive boards, too, where they've just played volleyball. But Adrian Dantley now a good sign for Utah. He's starting to get to the free throw line. He's going to be shooting 2 now. And Billy Paultz is checking into the lineup for Rich Kelly.
The Whopper, he played here for the Houston Rockets that year they were in the championship series against the Celtics. And they're hopeful that he can somehow provide what Eaton has left with.
This is his 15th consecutive playoff appearance in his career. It ties Dolph Schayes for the record for most of playoff appearances consecutively by a player. And Billy Paultz told me today, he said, I wonder who will pick me up next year so that they can go to the playoffs and make it 16. He says, I'm an automatic ticket to the playoffs.
Good luck charm, huh? He played in 6 ABA and 9 NBA playoffs.
In 1976, he led the ABA in block shots. He was quite a force in the league. He played with Larry Keenan and Julius Erving for the Nets. That was quite a front line when they won the ABA championship.
Well, Frank Layden hopes there's some of those block shots left. With 4:54 to go in the third period, 66-56 Houston.
See if Billy Paultz can keep Olajuwon off the offensive board.
Lloyd in trouble. Wilkins comes out of there with it to Ricky Green. Green to Griffith. Nice move by Griffith. He went right by Robert Reed.
I'm really impressed the way Ricky Green is delivering the ball to his teammates on the break, giving him the opportunity to finish off the shot, getting him where they want the basketball on the floor.
Darrell Griffith with 14. The Jazz still very much in the picture without Eaton. Paultz and Olajuwon really shoving inside. Oh, what a fine hook shot that was by the rookie.
Well, Mark Eaton's not going to stop that one. That was a jump hook shot that went about 14 feet in the air and came down and didn't touch anything but the bottom of the basket.
All of that summer activity against Moses Malone starting to appear in the games now. Wilkins missing. Reed with the rebound.
Go to Olajuwon. He's got the mismatch right now against Billy Paultz.
Paultz, they list him at 6'11", which would be about the same, but Hakeem, the strong game. He is on a roll now.
Got to get it up. 5
seconds on the shot clock.
There's a mismatch right there.
With one. Rebound Wilkins. Good defense by the Jazz.
Billy Paultz did a nice job. Got his hand in his face. Forced him to take a tough fadeaway jumper.
3.5 to go. Third period. Darrell Griffith again. And that'll be out of play. Houston will be awarded the basketball. Philadelphia still breezing along. Lionel Hollins now will check in, number 9 for the Rockets.
One of the things that makes Philadelphia such a contender is their outstanding defense. They can play the tough D and force you to do something other than your strength.
Now wait a minute, Hollins not allowed to come in now?
Well, he wasn't at the checkout position. You have to be at the scores table ready to go in. You can't be running to the table or the officials will not let you in the game.
Both the benches at the far ends of the court, which is not usually where you are. You're closer to that scorer's table.
Houston just isolating now with their big people. It's been Sampson and Olajuwon taking turns.
Well, they're not letting them get it inside, though, like you would expect. Green protects the ball with his body, and all of a sudden now they're back within 8.
Darrell Griffith, a nice job there, screening off the defender, too, having the presence of mind to help Ricky Green and serve almost as a moving screen in the open court.
Ricky Green, he is the catalyst to this ball club. Seemingly picks them up when they need it the most. Here's Lucas again. Olajuwon.
You know, I watched Billy Paultz on that play. He had his body on him, but Hakeem just out-quicked him to the ball. There is no substitution in this game for quickness and reaction to the ball.
24 points for Hakeem. 70-60. Dantley will take Reed, and Reed blocked him off well. Olajuwon with another rebound. Lucas off to Reed. To hold it again. Another timeout is called. 2:10 left in the third period. A team without Mark Eaton trying to improvise.
Yes.
Yeah. A 12-point lead at halftime. Mark Eaton going out of the ball game with 1:08 left, and Eaton this year was the defensive player of the year, and here's the all-defensive team this season.
Well, you see 2 members of the Milwaukee Bucks. You see Maurice Cheeks with 76ers, Michael Cooper, the Lakers. The interesting thing about this, you don't see any Boston Celtics, but Boston Celtics are an excellent defensive team. You're going to be seeing them against the Pistons. They stop you when they have to.
That's coming up later. The Eastern semifinal, game number 1 from the Boston Garden. John Stockton now is checked back into the ball game for Utah. Bailey's in, Paultz along with Rich Kelly and Adrian Dantley.
Thurl Bailey's been very quiet today, Gary.
He has. Kelly with that experience, a nice drop inside. He got the basket and he's fouled. The foul will go on Sampson. That's 4. There is Mark Eaton. Discouraged and I'm sure disappointed Mark Eaton. And let's hope, though, that injury will just take time to heal, and that's all.
I really feel bad for the young man.
He did not score. He's 0 for 7 from the field, but again, he contributes in other ways, Doug, and they have not gotten an offensive rebound in the second half without him in there.
It just shows you the fragility, you know, in terms of teams. An important part of your team goes out, and it can dash your whole playoff hopes in a hurry.
72-63 Houston. 1:44 to go in the third period. There's Kelly on the steal. It's kind of a gritty, determined Utah team doing what they can without their defensive player of the year. Dantley gets inside. He won't miss very many of those. Hollins with the rebound. Adrian struggling. Boy, he loves to take it to the basket.
What a bounce pass by Lionel Hollins, right in timing for Lewis Lloyd, slashing to the basket. He didn't even have to put it on the floor. Two-hand slam.
See the time left in the third period. 74-63 Houston. Stockton wheeling in, creating something. Kelly follows. He battles again. The veteran doing a good job, and Billy Paltz comes up from behind. Billy Paltz cuts it to 74-65. Should this Houston team continue on, they won the regular season series against both San Antonio and Denver. Here's Reed. Boy, Reed has really come in and hit some shots that have come at very important times for this team. He has 12 points in the ball game.
His playoff experience really shining through right now. The fact that he's been to a championship series.
11-point lead for Houston. Kelly, beautiful pass to Dantley, and Rich Kelly has played well.
Gary, that's the high post passing that I was talking about a while ago. For a big man to be able to spot a player like that with the congested area and just nail a hairline pass for a layup, that's a key for Rich Kelly's game.
He has a keen understanding of the game.
I think it really helped him playing for John McLeod in Phoenix in the passing system.
And it goes to Olajuwon. Paltz picking up the fouls. He tries to reach in with 11 seconds. Larry Mishaw will come in. Ralph Sampson will sit down. Bob Dekas, our producer, indicating that they're not sure what the extent of Mark Eaton's injury is. They'll take him back to Salt Lake City. They'll x-ray it there and have a final diagnosis on that knee.
You know, this could be a pretty good foul, really, by Billy Paltz against Hakeem Olajuwon, not giving them the opportunity to score at the end of the third period. If he misses his free throw, it could be a 4-point swing if Utah can go down and convert.
And he missed them.
Missed them both. Now they score. If they score, that's a 4-point swing.
That's too far for Dantley, though, but Paltz is there. Bailey tried to follow, and that's an opportunity they wish they had back. Reed trying the three-pointer at the buzzer. And with 12 minutes left to go in game number 5, that's the end of the third period with the score 76-67 Houston over Utah. We'll return after this word from your local station.
The NBA on CBS. Today's playoff game is sponsored by Light Beer from Miller. Everything you've always wanted in a beer, and less. Quaker State Motor Oil, now in easy-to-pour and easy-to-reseal plastic bottles. ITT, which believes the best ideas are the ideas which help people. And by Wagner, the right tool for painting.
Welcome back to the Summit. A sellout here, 16,000 plus, game 5 in this Western Conference as the Houston Rockets lead it 76-67 as we began the fourth period of play. I'm Gary Bender along with Doug Collins. And as you check the Jazz, they have only one starter in the lineup right now.
That's Thurl Bailey. They're going to see if they can rest an Adrian Dantley, a Darrell Griffith, and a Ricky Green to be ready for the stretch drive. On the other hand, Houston has Lewis Lloyd, who started the ball game in the backcourt with Lionel Hollins. Robert Reed, who's done a great job. Only Olajuwon is a starter in for the game, or excuse me, and Lewis Lloyd for the Rockets.
Both coaches going to put their frontliners in on the stretch drive. Here is Roberts out of BYU. Tough shot, but he got it.
Oh, really tough shot off the glass. He actually got bumped a little bit from behind, but was able to gather himself and score, and we got us a 7-point game.
Amazing. And what has happened to this game, Utah looks much more rested than they did Friday. When down the push, the stretch, they ran out of some gas. There's a turnover.
Hakeem Olajuwon, a little impatient in the post. Billy Paltz, with that veteran experience, bumped him. Hakeem retaliated, and it was a foul, and now the Jazz have an opportunity to cut it to 5.
That was kicked. That's the third foul on Hakeem. Let's pick it up on the replay.
Right arm with a shove off. Billy Paltz with a nice acting job there, too.
I was going to say, the Whopper really put some body English into that one.
Do you think that Hakeem could push
the Whopper like
that easily?
By the way, you saw that score on the Sixers game. Moses Malone has 25 points, Cheeks 18. Cummings has 17 for the Bucks. We'll keep you posted on that game, game 1. Here is Paltz, tipped up nicely. Roberts, it was Roberts across the lane that followed. He's hit 2 big baskets.
It's going to come down right now with both second units in the ball game, as who's going to be able to hold the fort, or will the Utah Jazz be able to take the lead here? And I think that Bill Fitch says, I got to bring my starters back in the game.
There's a push off on Hakeem. The double team. Billy Paultz really working hard against Olajuwon.
Not giving him his spot on the floor, pushing him, getting his arm in. He's got a smile on his face, waving his hand in front of his eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, and Akeem doesn't want any more of it. He's
upset.
He is upset against Billy Paultz right now.
Billy, the veteran, might be needling him along, trying to turn this around a little bit.
15 years of playoff experience. You've been through a lot of wars, and Akeem, this is his first shot at it.
Akeem really is pretty mild-mannered. Now, I remember a game against Virginia. He took a poke at a guy one time in college, but his history's been mild-mannered. But right now he's upset. That on Paultz was his second foul. Kelly reached in again. That's twice. He's batted it away. And this Utah team is roaring back. Here's Kelly, blocked by Olajuwon. Daryl Garrison hit the deck, and he's hurt. Garrison is hurt at center court. Here is Lloyd off to Sampson. We're going to have to stop the game. Daryl Garrison hit hard at center court. Boy, he hit hard right in front of us.
Did he get run over by a player?
I think he did. Either that or it's a glancing blow by the player. And I think as much as anything, it knocked the wind out from under him. He really hit.
I don't know whether he fell on his own or whether he was bumped by a player. This is why they have an alternate official in the playoffs.
He's checking a right leg now.
This is why they have an alternate official, Gary. I did a game in Philadelphia this year. The night that Bird and Julius Erving got into a fight, one of the officials went down. One official had to officiate the game then by himself. You could not see the action off the ball, and that's when the fight happened. So
I think he's going to be all right. Look at this. That's Akeem retaliating a little bit, upset at the Whopper. I don't think it was all that hard, or the Whopper might have fallen backwards.
Oh, great action. Great action.
Good replay. Well, Garrison still walking it off, and that floor doesn't give much in that kind of a situation.
The players looking at Daryl Garrison with a little smile on their face. He answers back, "I'm okay, guys, ready to go."
Supervisor of the officials right now would like to have a little more time, I think, to recoup. With 10:29 left in this game. Here's Sampson.
A lot of times the stress on the officials running up and down this game goes unnoticed. They've got to keep up with these young guys, and there are no substitutions for the officials. They play all 48.
Sampson makes it 77-71. It was Ralph who turned game 4 around in the second half. He's starting to assert himself more and more. Roberts with a rebound. Boy, Roberts has come in and really played some good minutes for Frank Layden.
Stockton has done a heady job at the point, giving Ricky Green a blow as well. And you got Roberts, who's done well. So they've had some good bench production. Thurl Bailey been very quiet today.
Yes, he has. He threw that one away. Did Roberts save it off of him? He did. Roberts saved it off of Akeem. Good heads-up play by Fred Roberts.
With this unit on the floor, Thurl Bailey's got to look a little more offense. Let's watch the play. Fred Roberts off the chest of Akeem, a good call, but Thurl Bailey's got to look more offense.
Well, he's got to hurry. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Stockton with 2. Good pump fake, and he nailed it at the buzzer. That was a very fine shot, and Stockton aware of the shot clock expiring in front of him.
As the game winds down, there's more bodies on the floor on every possession.
77-73. Lucas, you can hear it from out here. The stuff shot will not count. The foul before the basket. Foul on Kelly, his 4th. But Kelly has really done a good job defensively. And now Akeem looks like he's shaking off an injury. As you said, there are bodies on the floor. It's physical. It's playoff time. Okay. Boy, Garrison really hit hard.
I think Daryl Garrison went down on his own. I don't think he was hit.
I don't either, but he hit so awkward. You know, it was like he didn't.
He's pulling on his hamstring.
Daryl. Gary Bender, Doug Collins, 9:52 to go, and in this 4th period, Houston has not scored from the field. They haven't even taken a shot. Utah, 3 of 4, has made up some of that ground.
Akeem Olajuwon going down hard in the lane. He limped off the floor during that timeout. He might have twisted an ankle slightly.
He's okay, though, coming back. He'll come back with Lloyd, Lucas, McRae, and Sampson. That's the starting 5. Still, it's Roberts, Paultz, Bailey, Stockton, and Kelly. So only Bailey started the ball game for Utah.
You got to really give Utah a lot of credit with this reserve unit they've got in. They fought back in the ball game, and they're within 2 baskets of forging a tie here against this Houston Rocket team.
9:42 left. John Lucas out to Sampson. Kelly in his face. Sampson showing his range. He has 18 points. 79-73. That's
Ralph Sampson so wants to be a complete player.
Stockton in trouble. He traveled with it. Sampson with his 18. That goes with the 18 he had on Friday. Also had 18 rebounds on Friday.
How long will Frank Layden stay with his reserve? When will he come back with Bentley and Griffin?
Sampson again. You can just see he wants to take over the game more. Did it Friday, here tonight. 20 points for Sampson. We have a 22nd timeout by Utah with 9:12 left in the game.
You know, many people have talked about Ralph Sampson's drive to become a complete player, and a lot of people wonder if that has not maybe retarded his development a little bit in the fact that rather than mastering a skill like a Kareem has with his skyhook that's become a totally devastating weapon, that he wants to become so good in all facets that he really hasn't become that one dominant player that people expect him to be.
Well, coming up next, Detroit and Boston. Game 1 from the Boston Garden, the parquet floor, all the tradition, and Boston trying to be the first team to repeat as world champions for the first time in 16 years. And they've gotten through the first round and begin the second round later today here on CBS. 81-73, Houston with the lead.
Thurl Bailey's got to take the shot. He's got to take the ball inside and shoot the basketball.
7 seconds on the shot clock. Hakeem rejects it. They may have made a mistake getting this guy fired up. When he and Paultz went after it, Hakeem kind of stepped up his intensity a little bit.
Only 6 seconds on the shot clock. They've got to work a quick play.
Here's Bailey. He'll pop it.
He's got to take that shot, Gary. There's no other offensive players on the floor.
He can hit it, too. It's a good percentage shot for Thurl Bailey. 81-75. Sampson, the double team. Kelly again playing the tough defense. It'll be a turnover. Give credit to Rich Kelly again.
And also John Stockton. He doubled down on Ralph Sampson, who didn't spot the double team, held it above his head. Wilkins wanted to check in, but he's going to have to wait till later. I'm Gary Bender along with Doug Collins. We have 8 minutes, 40 seconds left in Game 5. Houston leading the Utah Jazz 81-75. The winner to play the winner of tonight's game between Denver and San Antonio. Let's see if they go to Thurl Bailey again. He needs to take this jump shot right there. That's his shot. Ray couldn't get to him. They had him on a pick. He's got to carry the load right now until he brings the starter, until Frank Layden brings the starters back in the ball game. Bailey with 9 points. That shows you how quiet he has been prior to the last 2 field goals. Stockton trying to collapse inside on Sampson. Out to Lloyd. That was Stockton who got a hand on it. Hakeem. Beautiful suspended move. He has 16 points. He has so developed his game in just a short period of time. Thurl Bailey again. And he is fouled. Bailey starting to carry this team offensively. Now Wilkins will check in as Mark Eaton watches in civilian clothing. Thurl Bailey, good low post position. He was challenged by 3 people that time. Sampson, McRae, and Elijah one. He did draw the foul. From McRae. From McRae. And he'll be at the free throw line to shoot 2. But Gary, good recognition on the part of Thurl Bailey when he looks out on the floor and sees Billy Paultz, who's a role player now, and Rich Kelly, who was on the floor, and Roberts. None of them scores. He has to take the shot. Jim Valvano told Frank Layden after Thurl came out of North Carolina State that this guy's just starting to scratch the surface. He's just a baby, just learning to play the game, and you can see improvement every time. We talk about so much about character people, too, and winners, and Thurl Bailey is one of those kids who you love to be around. Before the game, he couldn't have been more, delightful to be with. 83-79. They're coming out and trapping Lucas. Lucas breaks it. 7:54 left in Game 5. We got us a game here now. There's good hustle by Roberts. Lewis in some trouble. Roberts comes up with it. You think Roberts wanted that ball? I mean, he was on the floor twice. That's twice in that corner they've been able to once get the turnover. Now they have the jump ball. See if the Jazz get in a position here, Gary, to get the tip. Roberts should tip the ball to Jeff Wilkins. He's got a man. He doesn't want to tip it to Jeff Wilkins. Is a man wide open for him, and see if he can get it. 83-79. Lewis Lloyd took the tip. Yes, sir. He got up. He's giving away 5-6 inches. Lucas trying to rub Stockton off on the screen by Sampson. Tough shot. Paultz comes down with it. Thurl Bailey. Get the ball to the guard, Thurl. To Roberts. Roberts blocked by Hakeem. To the other end, to Lucas.
Fultz with another rebound. 2 defensive boards back to back.
Important now for John Stockton to get down here and get a good set play. Get the ball to Thurl Bailey. He's had a good situation the last 3 times down the floor. He scored 6 points.
Roberts going inside. He'll challenge him again. Fultz on the weak side. Follows with a tip. Billy Fultz playing very well. 83-81, a 2-point game with 6:55 to go. Who'd thought it with Eaton out of there?
Well, Frank Layden's done a great job getting certain people into.
Fultz has been shaken up underneath. Sampson takes it in. Fultz is hurt. He got hit in the head. He is staggering underneath the basket. Jerry Sloan, the assistant coach, is furious. He's run out to check Billy. Billy evidently caught an elbow. Let's see if we can pick it up. Oh, no!
A right hook!
Give me a break.
Oh, my word!
That is a replay of Virginia when he did that against Olden Polynice. I did that game, and here's Bailey scoring, and Akeem's got to control that.
Akeem Olajuwon and Billy Fultz are exchanging words. Let's keep an eye on what's going to happen with these 2 guys.
Boy, did he crack him. Looked like the Hagler-Hearns fight all over again. And there's a push-up. Fultz pushed off in frustration as much as anything. Bailey is pleading his cause for his teammate. Let's look at this.
Well, you see his cheekbone, too. He just hits him with a right hook.
Holy cow.
Oh, my word. I wonder if the officials saw that on the replay up above the screen that we have.
Layden's on the floor, and I don't blame him. No call for that at any time, at any place. 6 minutes, 15 seconds to go, and Akeem's team is leading by 2, but he's riled up this Utah club. Gee, Christmas.
You and I at the same time went right hook. Did you hear us? Hey. Did you hear Gary and I at the same time went, oh, right hook?
Move over, Gil Clancy.
I tell you, it's an interesting thing right now, too. Billy Fultz, so you see him right there. He's cheering his teammates on. He's fired up.
Boy, he's played well.
Me and Mrs.
He
Jones.
did that with Polynice here at the University of Houston. I'll never forget that.
I tell you, that was. He's got. You should see the cheek. Look at his his cheekbone there where he popped him. Can you see his right cheekbone? Okay, all right.
Well, I tell you, the veterans Kelly and Fultz have really done a job. Look at Billy. He's laughing now.
See the little knot on his right cheek? He's got a mouse there.
There it is, down now. Ask Hugh if he saw it. Billy Fultz on the end of that right-hand hook. You can see a little bit of a mouse starting to form under his right eye.
Oh, right hook there by Olajuwon.
And you can just sense the emotion that's coming out of this. Utah is fired up. Fultz out of the ballgame right now, but he was cheering his teammates on.
Gary, the important thing is right now, how do you channel this energy? Do you get out of control, or do you stay in what you want to do? It's easy right now to be a breaking point to see who channels their energy in the right direction.
Good point. Roberts in there now. Bailey, Wilkins is in. Stockton and Rich Kelly has come in. The 2 veterans sharing that spot. Here's Mitchell Wiggins from outside. Bailey with a rebound, and they have a chance to tie it up.
Bailey's been big. 8 points in the last couple minutes.
There's Wiggins. Broke it up away from Kelly. It'll be Utah's basketball.
You know, I don't want to pick on John Stockton, but you don't want to give the ball to Rich Kelly 15 feet from the floor and make him put it on the floor to make a move going to the basket. If he has it uncontested, give it. If not, say, hey, we don't need that one.
Not a 7-footer out at that part of the floor.
I'd go to my man, Thurl Bailey.
Here's Wilkins backing Sampson in. He traveled with the ball. Wilkins guilty of traveling at the 5:47 mark of the 4th period. The winner will move on to the 2nd round. Game 5. Lucas, Stockton's really played hard defensively.
He's a very deceptive player. You don't realize he has the speed and quickness. I would have never imagined that he was near as quick or as fast as Ricky Green.
There's Elijah Wan. He hits it for Followay, having a powerful game, 28 points, but also a very controversial game. 87-83, the Rockets by 4.
Oh, Fred Roberts just smacked Mitchell Wiggins in the face.
Roberts gets the roll.
Fred Roberts just smacked Mitchell Wiggins off the ball. They're going to have to be very careful right now that there's not a fight break out in this game. We're very, very close to having that happen.
Akeem and Kelly going after each other inside. You can see them shoving. Here is Akeem backing Kelly in. He ran into Roberts, and a foul. Let's look back at what you were talking about.
See if we see Wiggins and Fred Roberts, boom, cracking him right in the face. Great camera work there, and I'm telling you, the off-the-ball things is where it happens in the NBA because the officials only have 2 sets of eyes, and it's difficult to watch 10 players at the same time.
At the line, Elijah Wan. He has 14 rebounds in this game, 28 points. Powerful.
And 6 block shots.
But there's the one area he's got to improve. He missed the free throw. (88-85) Houston.
I think the Jazz should come down and go to Thurl Bailey. He's handled Rodney McCray the last 4 times down. Get him the basketball.
He's working off the ball. He's open, but it didn't get there in time. Lucas comes up with it. Lucas out of control. He traveled with it. Billy Paultz now will check back in for Utah. Let's see, who's he coming in for? No one's left.
Jeff Wilkins.
Yes, Wilkins will lead.
Gary, the important thing to watch now, Utah Jazz in the penalty in terms of Houston will shoot free throws. Houston only has 1 team foul. They can be very aggressive and have 3 fouls to waste before Utah starts shooting.
Here's Bailey. He knows what you're talking about. He wants that shot. He doesn't get the roll, but Kelly follows once, twice. He got it.
I'm impressed with Thurl Bailey taking it on his shoulders to do it, Gary. And how about it? It's been Adrian Dantley and Daryl Griffith on the bench the whole time this is happening.
A 1-point game with 4:15 to go. McCray driving, and did he run into a brick wall? Billy Paultz went over there. It looked like a linebacker.
Billy Paultz was not giving up any layups, believe me.
But that's just a continuation of what you've been talking about, how physical this game is getting. Paultz probably feels he's got one coming to him. Billy Paultz committing the foul. McCray at the line. You know, he scored only 1 point in this game.
He was 0 for 6 in the first half. I don't know how many shots he's taken here in the second half.
And the free throws continue to really be the weak point of this Houston team.
As we get down the stretch, with Houston being such a poor free throw shooting team, will that cause them to be eliminated? They're shooting 58% on the series as opposed to 80% for Utah. And at the end of the ball game, Gary, you won't see any layups. Believe me, a guy will have his nose bleeding and be shooting 2 free throws.
They were last in the regular season, too, shooting 69%. Roberts is fouled by Wiggins, and Wiggins looked like he might have been trying to come back a little bit after what he and Roberts went through previously. That's the first on Wiggins. 89-87, Houston by 2.
That's only the 2nd team foul. They can still be very aggressive.
You don't need to tell them that. They are. Here's Roberts taking it inside. Pretty good move by Fred Roberts.
This Fred Roberts has played an outstanding game off the bench. He's taken the ball down in a post-up. He's 6'10", and he has a mismatch against Mitchell Wiggins, who's what, 6'4", Gary?
Yep. Lucas committed the foul, by the way. It's his 4th. Roberts is a local boy out of Salt Lake. He went to high school there and then went to BYU. Very popular back in the Salt Palace. And he nails a free throw and has a chance to tie it up.
Lewis Lloyd has checked back into the game for Mitchell Wiggins. He's a little bit stronger physically, and maybe he can do a little better job defending against Fred Roberts, who's going right into the low post and who's tied the ball game with 2 free throws and 4 minutes to go.
89 all. Remember, all this comes with Mark Eaton going down for the game with 1:08 left in the first half. This is the first tie we've had this afternoon.
Can the Houston Rockets make free throws when the game is on the line?
Sampson in all kinds of problems, got a desperation shot up. Bailey rips it down. they can take the lead.
You think Frank Layden's got a little bit of confidence in the reserves he has on the floor right now?
Here's Roberts baseline. Bailey to try one. And the Utah Jazz remarkably have a 2-point lead. 15 points for Thurl Bailey. And Houston has called a timeout. What a gritty, determined Utah delegation this is. They lead it by 2.
I'm going to pat myself on the back of it, but I said Thurl Bailey's got to start.
Yep, he did.
10 points since then.
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Deke, I told Gary I'm going to pat myself on the back, but I told you Thurl Bailey had to start scoring. He scored 10 points in that little...
Look at Blackwell walking around over there.
That's Don Sparks, right? His name is Don Sparks.
Is that who that is? I didn't know who that was.
That's the trainer. I think it's Don Sparks is his name. Do you have a name of the trainers written down or not?
Is that their first lead? Did they ever lead before? First lead? Is that their first lead? Is that their first lead? Yes? In the season for somebody. Game number 5, the winner to play Denver. San Antonio's winner tonight. A game that has seen this Utah team play without their big center Mark Eaton and have taken the lead now, 91-89. First time they've had the lead in the second half. First time they've had the lead since the first part of this ball game.
And they've done it with Adrian Dantley and Daryl Griffith on the bench. Not with fouls, but the fact that this team has been going so well that Frank Layden does not want to change what he has happening that's going good.
I'll tell you, Doug, you called it. Thurl Bailey had to take over, and he's done that.
He has. He scored 10 points in a stretch here. That's just given them what an outstanding lift.
Sampson missed the stuff, but he's fouled by Thurl Bailey.
That's a good foul, though. Sampson is a 68% free throw shooter, and you're not going to give up a dunk. Now you're going to force him to the free throw line where he's got to make 2. So now the pressure comes in, Gary, and that's the point I tried to make a while ago. Can you make free throws when the game is on the line?
We welcome you that have been watching the Milwaukee-Philadelphia game where the Sixers defeated the Bucks. This game is now a 1-point game, 91-90. The Jazz leading the Houston Rockets in Game 5. The winner to play the winner tonight of San Antonio, Denver. I'm Gary Bender along with Doug Collins. Utah playing without the injured Mark Eaton has come from behind in this ball game. Billy Paultz, the veteran, is one of those who's brought him back, and now it's 93-90 in favor of the Jazz.
What an outstanding play by Billy Paultz. He is doing the job on both ends of the floor.
This has been a very physical game, has become a controversial game. Akeem took a punch at Paultz, fired up Paultz and the Jazz as Billy commits the foul, and we're going to show you Akeem's action against Billy Paultz.
Well, Billy Paultz had been bumping him earlier. Right hook by Olajuwon, and that really fired up the Utah Jazz.
And so we've had a heated battle since that time. The Jazz now with a 3-point advantage. Akeem at the line, and Houston really struggling from the free throw line.
That's 4 of the last 5 free throws they've missed. Akeem has missed 3 in a row, and Sampson missed 1 out of 2. They're a 58% shooting ball club in the series, and right now Utah, I'm telling you, if it gets close inside, they're going to foul them and force them to shoot free throws. They're not going to give them any easy baskets.
So both Akeem and Sampson get 1 of 2 from the line. It's a 2-point game. You see the time remaining.
Thurl Bailey's been the man of the hour for the Jazz. He and Fred Roberts, can they get him the ball inside?
The veterans, Paultz, Rich Kelly, have brought him along. Bailey has come down the stretch to score 10 big points. He's going to try for 2 more. Roberts able to kick it out to Paultz. They have a fresh shot clock.
I watched Billy Paul's eyes that time when he got the rebound. He looked to see if they got a new 24-second shot clock. That's experience. There's Thurl Bailey, my man of the hour.
Fred Roberts, who's played a stellar game, missed an easy one. Bailey comes up with it. Misses again, and we have goaltending. And Bailey came out of nowhere, Doug, to come up with that one.
Adrian Dantley on the sideline with a towel waving it. He doesn't want to get a technical foul, and the Utah bench right now is so excited.
They've been winning this game without Griffith and Dantley.
They've been on the bench the whole time during this comeback.
There's your timeouts remaining. You see the time left. 1:53. Lloyd on the move. To Sampson. He lost it, I believe. He did. Utah has the basketball.
Frank Layden wants a timeout. He wants to get his troops together for the last minute 48 in the stretch run. Time leading score. Do you give him a chance, or what do you do? What do you think?
I don't think.
That's where coaching
Just listening to you.
No, that's where coaching comes in, though.
What was the biggest lead they had in the second half? Biggest lead in the second half? A sellout at the Summit. Game number 5, 1:48 left in it. The Jazz with a 95-91 lead. They will inbounds the basketball. Utah trailed by as many as 13 in the second half, and without Mark Eaton have been able to take this advantage.
Adrian Dantley has checked into the ball game. They have the ball in the half court. He's been on the bench a long time. Do you go to him to try to draw a foul?
He came in for Fred Roberts. Here's Thurl Bailey. That's well within his range. Sampson with a powerful rebound. Lucas rejected by Bailey. Lucas to follow. Dantley has it. Out it comes to Bailey.
Pull it back out.
He's going to take it inside, and we have a foul. Thurl Bailey has played so well for a guy that's only in his second year of NBA experience. He's made all the right plays. That might have been the only time, Doug, when maybe he should have come back out.
I question it. He did get the foul, but you got to realize that late in the game, the officials aren't going to give you the touch foul, and they've got a 4-point lead. The importance now, running the clock, getting a good shot, although he did get to the free throw line, and here's where the importance of being able to convert the free throws really comes in handy, especially in the playoffs.
He was an 84% free throw shooter during the regular season. Does not get that one, however, and it's 95-91, a minute 17. You see the free throw percentage as Robert Reed, who's played very well in this game, scored 12 points, all from the outside, is checked in.
They're bringing him in for Lewis Lloyd at the big guard position because of his playoff experience. He's been to the championships with Houston when they played the Boston Celtics, and now the Rockets are going to want to take a timeout.
Bailey got the second one. It's a 5-point difference with 1:17 to go. Bill Fitch, who won it all with the Boston Celtics, and in fact captured the championship here in the Summit.
Hey, Deke, out of this timeout, do you want to show Mark Eaton on the bench, maybe make Gary make the point about him hurting his knee?
Yeah, come back and we'll talk about it.
You know, therefore, because the people don't know that. We haven't really gotten into that since they've joined us.
What's the controversy over there, Dave Blackwell and those guys, I wonder?
MVP, you got
Skip. For those of you who did not join us at the start of this ball game, they're watching that Milwaukee-Philadelphia series. Mark Eaton, the 7'4" center, went down with a hyperextended knee injury to his right knee with 1 minute and 8 seconds to go in the first half. They tried to rehabilitate it, get it ready to go. The bottom line is they're going to take him back to Salt Lake City, x-ray again, and then they'll have a further prognosis on it. He did not score in that first half, but of course is always an intimidating factor in a game. Coming up now, immediately following the conclusion of this one, game 1 from the Boston Garden, the Celtics against the Detroit Pistons.
Gary, what would you have thought the Utah Jazz's chances would have been if I would have told you that in the fourth quarter, with the Jazz trailing, Adrian Dantley had not scored a point and they were climbing uphill without him in the ball game? Would you have liked their chances?
Nope. We've got Kelly and Wilkins and Fred Roberts. Those are the guys that brought him along.
Watch now. Utah will not give up a layup. They'll force him to shoot a free throw.
Lucas had it batted away. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Allen Level now is checked into the ball game. And he hit it. That's a two-pointer, not a three-point play.
He's going with the old experienced hand, Allen Level. He's been here too, so he's got 2 quick guards in the back court.
96-93, the Jazz by 3. 54 seconds to go in the game. Bailey backing in. Reed trying to draw the foul. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Reach in. Olajuwon. Dantley to Kelly. Changed his shot. Stockton's got it. They'll just bring it back out now to a fresh shot clock.
Billy Paul's telling John Stockton, let's stay under control. Use the clock now. Make them foul us.
Bailey is fouled, and Sampson, I believe, if that's true, on Sampson, that would be his 5th. That is 5 fouls on Ralph Sampson.
Gary, the importance of experience in the playoffs. A Billy Pauls who comes in today has not been playing. He comes in, bangs, doing the job on the offensive boards. You talk about a Rich Kelly who had not played. Frank Layden told us before the ball game, he said, Doug, I've got to go with my more experienced people and let them get in the ball game. And he's really had to do that with Mark Eaton out.
You see Paul's counting the clock, figuring how many possessions were left, figuring out what they had to do, depending, of course, on what Bailey does at the line, and Bailey is able to hit it.
The importance of free throw shooting, I can't say it enough. In the playoffs, Gary, there's no way Utah should be in this game if you want to look at statistics unless you count the free throw line, and they're averaging 31 for 39 in the 4-game series from the free throw line.
And Houston, on the other hand, the worst free throw shooting team in the NBA. 98-93, they're in a hurry. Olajuwon.
They do not have to take a shot. There's 24 seconds. They do not have to shoot. They just have to hold the ball out. They must foul. Houston must foul.
Dantley's an excellent free throw shooter. He wants to maintain the ball, and so Robert Reed fouls him with 16 seconds. Dantley shooting 80% this year. Reed committing his 4th personal foul.
Adrian Dantley realizing the shot clock was turned off. There's 24 seconds remaining in the ball game, so they did not have to shoot. He's got 2 free throws now. If he converts them, they have a 5-point lead. Gary, the one thing I didn't like to see on the negative end, you can't let Houston score so quickly. You've got to hold them up and make them use some clock. You can't let them run it down the floor and score so easily.
Dantley is 7 of 7 from the line today. So that move of bringing him in paid off, didn't it?
Well, I think it happened, too, the fact that Fred Roberts lost the contact lens that he brought Adrian Dantley in. But I tell you, the way Utah has battled back in this game with their reserves, you just can't give them enough credit.
Now the question is, would Eaton be ready for the next series?
Hopefully there's no serious damage, and a couple days rest would help him.
Lucas not contesting again. That's what you're just talking about.
That's too easy.
197, and this time Dantley will go to the line as Reed commits another foul. Adrian Dantley is going to be our light beer most valuable player of the game. Light beer from Miller is proud to present a check for $1,000 to the National Multiple Sclerosis Foundation on behalf of Adrian Dantley. 21 points, 4 rebounds. Did you vote for him?
No, I did not. My vote was Thurl Bailey.
Well, we'll iron this out, but he has played a strong game, but he was on the bench most of the second half, but he's hit the big free throws now down the stretch. That's all right. It's a democratic society. He has nailed them when they counted here, with now 9 seconds left in the game. 102-97. What a remarkable win this is going to be for Utah. Everything pointed against him. Eaton out. Not able to shoot well. They were miserable from the field in the first half, shooting only 28% from the field. But they have battled back, and Bill Fitch's team now, they've got a lot of ground to make up. Hey, Bob, we're just kidding you, but where did we get Adrian Dantley?
Okay. Oh.
Okay. We had our guys picked, I thought. I'm sorry. It's funny.
Hey, can we throw this up on the screen, guys? Hello, Deke. The free throw shooting in the game. 25 for 30 for Utah, 83%. Houston, 15 for 30, 50%. And that matches the figures of the series, basically.
Okay. Frank Layden and Utah 9 seconds away from moving into the second round. They lead 102-97. Earlier, a game concluded here on CBS. Philadelphia wins game 1 against Milwaukee. And immediately to follow the conclusion of this, it'll be the Boston Garden, the Celtics against the Detroit Pistons. The free throw shooting in the second half has really been a big factor in the ball game. 50% from the line for Houston.
That's the importance again that I talked about. 26 of 30 for the Jazz, 85%. Houston 15 of 30.
Three-point attempt by Lucas.
That's the game.
Yes, sir. Dantley will sit on it, and Hollins has committed the foul with 3 seconds to go.
Well, I want to tell you one thing right now. The Utah Jazz, Adrian Dantley and Darrell Griffith and Ricky Green, the starters, better run over and give a big hug to Billy Pauls and to Fred Roberts and to Rich Kelly for the job, and Johnson for the job they've done off the bench, because they have been the reason this game has been won.
Look at Layden. Layden over there exchanging punches with Jeff Wilkins, as this has just been a remarkable victory for the Jazz, and now they will await the outcome of tonight's game in the Mile High City, as Denver will play San Antonio in game 5 for the right to meet the Jazz. And for the second year in a row, the Jazz have moved into the second round.
So you'd have to consider this series an upset right now, Gary, the fact that Houston losing 2 games at home, but I've always said that the home court advantage is only important in the last game, and I guess they've shot my theory down today, coming in here in game 5 and winning at the Summit.
Dantley continues to be sensational from the line. Level puts up the last second shot, and this Utah Jazz team coming from behind, trailing by as many as 13 in the second half without Mark Eaton.